Darkness rippled across the Mandé savanna as forked lightning tattooed the clouds. A silver map of chaos for anyone brave enough to read the sky. Hooves hammered wet mud. Leather shields clattered like broken pots under invisible blows. Yet amid the uproar knelt a boy no taller than a spear's lower knot. His raffiaed tunic clung to his skin. Ash stung his nostrils. Fingers clenched a snapped toy bow. Fear prickled every inch of him, and still, beneath fear, glowed a coal of untamed hope. His birth name was Sundiata. History, through the tongues of griots yet unborn, would carve him as Sundiata Keita, the Lion King of Mali. He was the long-awaited son of Fama Magan Konfata and the mysterious buffalo woman Sogolon Kedju. The villagers of Niani reacted in three ways. Some crossed themselves with cola dust, some scoffed, and some, like jealous Queen Sasuma Berete, hid envy behind enameled smiles. From birth, Sundiata's legs refused command. Nurses muttered that spirits had locked his bones with invisible chains. While other toddlers chased dragonflies, he trained only his gaze, steady, patient, unblinking. King Magan, frail with fever, called for the crawling child. He placed a copper lion talisman into Sundiata's palm. 1 moon later, the king joined the ancestors, and Queen Sasuma seized the council as swiftly as a hawk on a field mouse. Her own son, Prince Dankaran, wore the crown. At dawn, Griot Balafaseke laid an iron staff beside Sundiata. The courtyard filled with onlookers, some curious, some cruel. Sundiata dragged himself stone by stone across gravel that bit like fangs. His gaze locked on his mother. Her silent tears became stepping stones. With a roar that startled hens off rooftops, he hauled himself upright. The iron staff bowed, but the boy did not. Years blurred into rations of sweat and bruises. Archers taught him the song of the bowstring. Wrestlers taught him the language of leverage. Horsemen taught him trust between rib and saddle. Envy, however, sharpens faster than muscle. Sasuma bribed diviners for poison. When that failed, she had Griot Bala and young Smith Fracco kidnapped. Tribute to the sorcerer king Sumaro Kante of Soso. Under a starless veil, they escaped through a hidden postern gate. Exile sealed behind them like an iron door. They trekked across the dry winds of Jadeba, the mango groves of Taban, the golden dust of Wangara. Hunger gnawed more fiercely than hyenas. Sogolon coughed crimson petals into rags. In the terraced kingdom of Mema, Mansa Musa Kone saw a furnace of resolve in Sundiata's eyes. Thus Sundiata studied governance beside the Mansa. He learned the whisper songs of horses and the deep arithmetic of grain. He forged alliances with displaced hunters, smiths, and farmers, each link another rivet in a yet unseen empire. The third rainy season arrived with fever. Sogolon felt the pull of the ancestors. Sweat glazed her like morning dew on ironwood leaves. She placed a leather amulet, pebbles and baobab seeds sewn tight, into his hand. With sunrise, her spirit slipped beyond the millet smoke sky. Sundiata did not weep aloud. The amulet rattled, soft, steady, like a lion's distant heartbeat, reminding him that grief is a debt the living pay to love. Griots recited lineages under tamarind firelight. Fugitives became allies. Allies became brothers. Even the blind farmer Terra pledged his hoe as a weapon, for soil is a battlefield where hunger is king. Warriors, smiths, midwives, and nomads gathered atop the red granite of Woro. As dawn broke over the red dust of Woro, Sundiata's army formed, united clans, bonded by ritual oath under crackling shields. Their faces glowed with determination, and the weight of destiny thickened the air. Across the heat-hazed plains, the black rooster banner of Sumaro Kante flickered. The sorcerer king, whose xylophone of skulls had echoed from charred huts, now stood poised to crush Mandé's rising roar. Sumaoro and Sundiata traded omens by owl messengers. An owl swooped over Mandé camp, omen of ill winds. Then a second owl circled Sumaoro, response heard in anxious drums. Thus war began not just in iron but in shadow and spirit. At Tabon and Sibi, Sundiata gathered more warriors, Fran Kamara, Tiramakan Traore, Kamanjan, Fakoli Koroma. Each pledged steel and blood. At Sibi, a tearfully joyous reunion with Sister Nana Triban and Griot Balafaseke, freed from Sumaoro's tower, revealed the source of Sumaoro's power, the spur of the Black Rooster. At Taban, Sundiata's mounted scouts ambushed Soso raiders. Spears found flesh, horses thundered. Sumaoro's men fled into the night's red dust. It was not just victory, it was prelude, the phoenix stirring before its full flight. Yet Sumaoro himself remained distant, proof his black magic buffered him from mortal harm. At midnight, in a reed pavilion lit by oil lanterns, Nana Triban and Bala worked the ritual to weaken Sumaoro. They ground charcoal, baobab ash, rooster spur dust, and poured the cursed mixture onto a clay balafon. On the plains of Kirina in 1235 CE, a Mandé and Soso clashed. Day boiled into chaos. Dust blinded horses, shields cracked. Arrows clouded the air like locust swarms. When Sumaoro raised his enchanted balafon, the curse took hold. Its xylophone snarled, then cracked. Magic sputtered, Sumaoro staggered. He raised his black rooster banner one last time and fell wounded. The Lion King's arrow, a tip shaped like a rooster spur, found Sumaoro's shoulder. Blood bloomed. Terror cracked ancient spells. Sumaoro turned and fled into cliffs, into legend, and Mandé roared. The floodgates broke. Mandé warriors surged through Soso's capital, raising idols, freeing captives, burning fetishes to ash. Sundiata did not cheer above others. He knelt, spat dust from his lungs, and let the rifle's silence speak. In the wake of Kirina, Sundiata accepted the title Mansa, uniting Mandé into an empire of 12 doors, from Bambugu to Zagari. He divided land with respect, installed tax systems, placed governors loyal to clan and king. Then under a great baobab at Kurukanfuga, chiefs convened. They spoke in kola nut palm and open speech, forging a charter to bind the empire in law. This Mandan charter, one of the earliest proto-constitutions, ensured women's councils, soil rotation rules, abolition of slavery, rights of orphans. It bound Mandé not just in gold but in justice. Une vie est une vie, none higher, none lesser. At that founding moment, Sundiata lowered his gaze and refused the highest seat. His brothers whispered it was humility, but Sundiata called it survival. Long after, Mansa kept wandering his domain in disguise, riding fishermen's canoes, sleeping in huts, asking villagers how best to lead. He built schools at Sankore, opened caravans to Timbuktu, built bridges before walls. Ignorance breeds sorcerers. Knowledge is our truest weapon. Gold-filled caravans eventually left Mali for Cairo. Mansa Musa would cross the world, but long before his great-uncle had lit the path. One day Sundiata smashed a golden goblet. Its shards spilled beads into the dust. Power must serve the people, not pockets, he declared. He shook the baobab seed amulet, its pebbles rattled, steady like a lion's heartbeat. Thousands say whispers of future iron riders came. Yet his charter echoed to the gates of Timbuktu and beyond. But that, storytellers, is a tale for another moon. Moral: greatness once cloaked in exile can roar across nations, if oriented by justice, enshrined in law, and tempered by humility.